We gather the facts that support the inference we want, we put them in through the leading question, and when we feel like we've accomplished the chapter, we leave, which is often before the chapter's over. In other words, you may decide you have more on the page, but you've got the jury where you want them. It's okay to abbreviate. And then once you've finished, you circle back and you start a new chapter, forcing the witness to come with you with a leading question. We are chunking information. We are making information into small bundles so that the jurors are not using their brains to say, where are we? What is your point? What story are you telling me? By doing this, we've relaxed their brains and allow them to listen to us. And so that's critical. We've got to be easy to listen to. And if we're easy to listen to, then they pay more attention to us. Remember, prosecution stories just drone on and on and on. And open-ended questions invite witnesses to tell narratives so their witnesses don't get to the point, forcing jurors to try to figure out more on what's being taught, where we get right to the point with a leading question. Once they listen to a chapter, the jurors can understand our point, the inference we are making, and then if they understand us, then they can get to belief. I cannot guarantee we get belief, but I can guarantee in order to get to belief, we've got to get them to listen and we've got to get them to understand. That's why our goal is to teach our case, not to persuade. We let the facts persuade for us. A chapter is just a story. This is a sanity case. The prosecution has opened, and in their opening, they've bragged about their expert. Their expert has been published 9 times in great journals. It is rare. It is worth bragging about under some circumstances. The defense lawyer has never published an article. It didn't make any difference. Here is one chapter done by a public defender in less than a minute, minute and a half. And the title of it, remember, titles are for our brains, because your articles don't matter in this case. Doctor, you placed everything you published in your resume. You know, by the way, that sounds like such a no-brainer. It's an important question. It's a tripwire. What is a tripwire? A tripwire is something we lay out to warn us if something has been done wrong. Why do we say you placed everything you published in your resume? Because the chapter is based on the resume, and if we've missed something, if they've said no, there are more publications since then, we need to find out right now. But, of course, it would be in the resume, so it's safe. Yes. And when you do this, when you publish an article, you're proud of your articles, of course. Publishing an article shows where your interests lie, and doing research in that area helps you develop your expertise in that area. Now, what's the witness doing? The witness is trying to figure out what in the world are we doing in this cross? I don't understand where you're going. See, we don't care that the witness understands, but we're about to make it clear to the jury. Doctor, from 2009 to 2020, you've published 9 articles. Look at what the act of holding a piece of paper does. Just holding it. It says, I am going to hurt you. Why would I do this? Why would I hold? We don't need a gesture. And what is happening to the mind of the witness? Remember, the more a witness tries to outthink us, the worse they do. Why? Scientifically. Because the brain has limited neural resources. And the more the brain problem solves, the more it burns up its ability to problem solve. And now this witness is problem solving a problem they can't even define. Why is this lawyer holding up my articles? And you know what the witness does. They always think, what did I write? What's in there I wish I hadn't said? And that isn't even where this public defender is going. And she says to the doctor, 2009 to 2020, you've published 9 articles. And as I read them, doctor, every one of your publications is about hospital administration. In fact, they're about something even narrower, aren't they, doctor? Your articles are about hospital administration in a tax-supported institution. None of your published articles deal with psychiatric diagnosis. That's the end of the chapter. A chapter scores what is available, but it doesn't score what isn't available. You cannot get from that to, so you are not an expert in diagnosis. The value of the chapter is in the title. Stop bragging about your publications. They don't matter in this case. That's all. That's all a chapter does, is it scores what's there. But in order to score it, all we needed was a short story. And there are no answers in this because we don't go too far. We don't say at the bottom, so how does this impact your ability to be an expert in? We just say to the jury, look, don't pay any attention to the articles. They don't matter. By the way, you call your expert, you could make something out of this. You could say to your expert, you ever written an article for publication? No. Well, do you read these articles? No, not really. Well, why not? Well, I treat people. I diagnose people. That's what I do every day. I don't write articles. See, we can take advantage of the fact that we don't write articles. The point of today's lecture is never to say, here is a chapter for you to do in your case. It is, here is a technique to do that runs across all kinds of cases. We have many lectures today and tomorrow that are excellent on, if you got a cell phone tower or, you got an insanity defense. Those are specialized. Every time I show you something, it is a technique. All we're doing is applying the technique, the chapter method, to a particular kind of case so you'll see it. DUI cases are full of roadside tests, and roadside tests are deceptive. They sneak up on people, and they include secret tests. There is the test the cop tells you about, which is walk the line, and there's the test the cop never tells the citizen about, which is, can you memorize the instructions? I'm going to read the instructions, and you're not to start until I tell you to. That's a memorization test. So what we're going to do here is in this chapter, we're going to define divided attention test. Whenever you use jargon, you'll need to have a mini chapter on what the jargon means. So the juror doesn't have to say, what does that word mean? Remember, don't talk like a cop. Prosecutors talk like cops. They think it's so cool. And nobody talks like the cops. A buy bust in a drug case is so simple. A cop working undercover buys the drugs from the client. Another cop hidden around the corner in a cruiser gets out and arrests the client. If they'd say it that way, it would go so much better. But no. The cop in the cruiser has to sound copish. And so he or she says, and in a pre-planning meeting, we agreed on the emergency activation signal. And upon hearing the designated words, I engaged in an immediate exit of my unit and responded to the subject scene. And the jurors go, you exited your unit? It's a sex case? What are you talking about? Right? Don't talk like a cop. Talk like a juror. And so, divided attention tests. The manual stresses the importance of requiring a driver to do several things at once. Doing several things at once is called a divided attention test. meaning the driver has to concentrate on more than one thing at a time. But officer, this is a hidden test. You don't even tell the citizen that they're taking a test. You see what we're doing to the jury? You seeing how unfair it is? You don't tell the citizen that they're taking a test. And that's what these sobriety tests are designed to do, to see if somebody can concentrate on more than one thing at a time. Because people who are impaired by alcohol can't do it well, and people who are not impaired by alcohol can do it very well. See, all we've done is said there's something called a divided attention test. We haven't done the divided attention test yet, because that's a separate chapter. Remember, context leads to momentum. Let me tell you, there is such a thing. Now let me show you where it is in this case. And so then we'll do one.